there. I'm Deanna, and this is the first time that I'm talking to a camera directly and filming myself, and it feels super weird and pretty awkward. But the reason I'm doing this is because I would like to talk about celiac, and it's something that I was diagnosed with just last year, but has affected me obviously my whole life. I was about 12 is when the symptoms of celiac disease really started to show up, but I never really noticed. Nobody really knew what that was. I live in kind of a small town, and celiac disease wasn't anything anybody talked about. I don't think it was anything that anybody around here really knew about, and this is before the days of the good old internet, so researching your symptoms and finding out about different things that could be causing them just was not an option. So when I was about 13, somewhere in there, I still hadn't hit puberty. I was really thin. Food made me so sick. Oh, I would get so sick. And one day I was with my family at the bowling alley and I passed out and was admitted into the hospital, and my pediatrician, she concluded that I was anorexic. She marched into my hospital room and told me, a young 13-year-old child, that I was going to die. She said if I didn't eat, I was going to die. That's all there was to it. Basically to just knock it off. She put me on medicine that made me really sick. It was to gain weight, and she prescribed me too much for my weight, and it overdosed me. I had a really negative reaction. I was really sick. I actually thought I was going to die and was confessing all of my 12-year-old sins to my mother. Everything I had lied about, everything I had said my brother did, but I actually did all of it. And it wasn't until last year, of course, that I found out the reason for all of this. And like after the whole hospitalization thing, I got acne, as most teenagers do, but mine never went away. And it was different than everybody else's. It was more like a rash, and I would get these cysts, these big, painful, throbbing, inflamed cysts that just would pop up anywhere. And I didn't know what caused it. Nobody really knew what it was. They just assumed that it was in my genetics, or it was something like maybe I needed Proactive or something like that. Contributing it to gluten wasn't something that was even brought up. Gluten wasn't anything that I was even aware of until the past couple of years. I was late to start puberty, and when I got older, I had a lot of complications with pregnancies. I miscarried a couple of times before I had my daughter, and still, you know, they told me that acne was something that I would grow out of, and it was not. And last year I went on a diet. I started a juice cleanse and was going to lose weight, working out, having juice, and I felt so much better. Everything felt better. My skin cleared up, the cysts went away, my joints didn't hurt anymore, my stomach didn't hurt, I wasn't nauseous, I didn't have any bloating, I felt energized, I felt great. And you know, I thought, okay, well, this is just the diet and exercise working, it's making me feel good. And when I came off of my diet, the first thing that I had was a hamburger, and immediately got sick. Immediately felt discomfort in my abdomen. The next day I started getting a breakout, and my joints were kind of stiff, and I was like, okay, well, that's kind of weird. Maybe it's just because it was junk food. I don't know. And so I slowly started going back to some of my normal eating patterns. You know, I wanted to eat with my kids and my husband and have a family dinner and be able to eat the same things that they were having, and it was just making me really sick and just miserable. The cysts came back, the rash, I would get rashes in weird places. After I came back to eating normal food, the symptoms just intensified. Cysts would pop up anywhere, and I mean anywhere. They would show up on my chest, they would show up one on my eyebrow, in my hairline. The rashes would show up just wherever they felt like, and I was miserable. So I went to a doctor and he ran some tests, and I was diagnosed with celiac, and I didn't even know what it was. And he told me that I had to cut out gluten, that barley, wheat, and rye were hard for my stomach to digest. It was causing complications, and that this is most likely the reason that I was so sick growing up, and the reason for my delayed puberty, and the reason for my complications with pregnancies, my joint pain, the skin issues. And it's something that it kind of makes me mad, actually, to think about my pediatrician marching in there and telling me that I was going to die when I knew I wasn't anorexic. I just knew I wasn't bulimic. I knew that food made me sick. I knew that it made me really, really sick, and I just didn't want it. And it wasn't proper for me to speak up or to disrespect the doctor by disagreeing with her and her diagnosis. So it was what it was. For a really long time, my family thought that I was anorexic, and nobody wanted to believe me when I tried to tell them that I wasn't. They were like, but you're so skinny, and which of course I'm not now, but I was then. And it's something that I'm learning to live with. It's still hard. It's really hard to avoid. And some of the foods that I love, like garlic bread, oh my goodness. Italian to the core. I love my garlic bread. And lasagna and chicken parmesan and all of it. And I can't have it. And I can't have fried chicken unless I make it some special way. And I slip from time to time and will get stuff like a rash, like I currently have one on my forehead, and I've got a little here, and that's from a bagel. So I had a weak moment. I had a bagel. Paying dearly for it because my face hurts. But it is important to listen to your body and to know when something isn't right. And if you know, like for instance, that you're not anorexic and that it's something else, don't be afraid to speak up, and don't be afraid to push for a correct answer, because my life would have been completely different if I would have known. I probably I would have been sick as a kid. I would have went through puberty at the same time as everybody else. I wouldn't have had the complications that I had with pregnancy, and you know, it just causes so many different things. So don't be afraid to speak up. Do your research and know your body and know when something isn't right. And keep pushing until the correct solution is found. It's your body, it's your life, it's not theirs. So take control, stand up. And something that I need to do is take control of this dang gluten, because I just cannot avoid it, and I'm trying so hard, and it is so hard. Alright, well, that's it for today. So I don't know if this is something that I'll continue doing on my channel. I don't know if like talking directly to a camera is something that I will continue to do. I might have some story time videos or something, because I can tell some stories. But I don't really know which direction just yet this channel is gonna go. I kind of like being behind the camera more than I like being in front of it. So there may be more like my first two videos that might be more of a direction that I lean to. But I hope y'all get used to my ugly mug, because I'm here to stay for a while. I'm gonna give this YouTube thing a shot. Hi there, I'm Deanna, and this is the first time that I'm talking to a camera directly and filming myself, and it feels super weird and pretty awkward. But the reason I'm doing this is because I would like to talk about celiac, and it's something that I was diagnosed with just last year, but has affected. Hi there, I'm Deanna, and this is the first time that I'm talking to a camera directly and filming myself, and it feels super weird and pretty awkward. But the reason I'm doing this is because I would like to talk about celiac, and it's something that I was